Hey, what's up guys? Martin here, and in today's video I wanted to highlight two very important websites here in Iceland. If you're coming to visit the island, I highly recommend having these two sites on the home screen, or bookmarking them, or putting them on an icon on your phone, because you're probably going to be using one or two of the sites, or probably both, consistently throughout your trip. The first one is on the screen, and that's the weather forecasting. You might have it when you first log into it in Icelandic, but we'll switch that into English. But here it's very basic. It shows you weather forecasting, winds, temperatures, and precipitation. And this site is very, very good. It's very accurate, and it's very real time. So highly recommend this one. It's called VEDUR.is, VEDUR.is. The second one is called ROAD.is. This site is very focused on road conditions throughout the island. So if the roads are closed or if they're open, if there's any alerts. So depending on where you're going in the Iceland, this specific site, road.is, so it's ROAD.is, will give you conditions, very detailed conditions regarding your trip and any roads you're about to take. So let's start off with VEDUR.is, which is the weather forecasting. And right now it's in Icelandic, so I'm going to just change it into English. So at the very, very top of the site, there's going to be, in the middle, there's going to be a English link button that I'm going to click, and then it's going to switch the entire site into English. So let's start off showing you the main menu that's horizontal across the page. So you have home, weather, earthquakes, and other buttons that are particularly independent of what you're trying to learn about the island. The most sections, I guess, you're going to probably be checking is the weather forecasting and wind. Wind is a very crucial aspect of the island, so that's something that not only you're going to be alerted about, but you're going to be constantly checking. And this site is very, very good about this. So you have weather, and if we come down just a little bit under the main menu, this is an area where the site is very good about alerting or putting notifications that are very important. So right now there's an alert, a note regarding the eruption north of Grandavik, which has stopped. That's the latest volcanic eruption that we had in the island this month, and it's currently at a sleeping mode, or stopped as they put it. But you can click on more and check out a little bit more details about that. And today it looks like there's a yellow alert for winds in the East Fjords and Southeast Islands. So you can click on that and learn more regarding the yellow alert of the wind conditions. So if you're driving towards these areas, you might want to think twice, maybe hold off on it, and then, or read a little bit about it and study it and see if you can actually proceed going there. Sometimes it's very, very dangerous, so this is a great opportunity to check this out. So underneath that, there's three graphics. The first one, this green bluish one, is the wind conditions, and this is it's going to be something you're going to be checking a lot. The temperature is in the middle, the orange one, and then the third one is the precipitation. Underneath that, you have the days of the week and a slider for the times. So you can use the mouse for this to slide left and right, or you can use your keypad arrows left and right to move around and scrub through this. And this is, like I said, it's very real time. It's very accurate. So that's why it's really, really useful. So underneath that, the three graphics, you have the station's forecasts, which shows a overview of some of the main cities or towns here in Iceland, like Reykjavik and Akureyri. Now, this is the home page, and it's basically just an overview of some of the areas that you're probably going to be going into. So let's start off with weather, which I'm going to just go to the very top main menu next to home and click on weather. In the weather page, it's an overview station of the entire island, just on weather conditions, weather forecasting. The left side on the screen, you can see a vertical menu that it's pretty much just showing you regions where you can kind of click and zoom into, and you're going to get a little bit more of a detailed view. You can also hover over the graphic map and also do the same thing. You can click and zoom in into some of these cities and towns. So you can see there's a few areas on the southwest that are sunny, partly sunny, and there's areas on the other side, on the east side of the island, which are mostly cloudy and raining. So you can get an overview of what's happening depending on where you are. Now, if you want to go deeper into an area, so let's say you're thinking of going to the west fjords of the island, which are very at the top here, this antler-looking part of the island, the northwest. So we can quickly just hover over west fjords here on the left, vertical menu, click on it, and it's going to give you a more zoomed-in, detailed view of the west fjords for today, and specifically for the time, currently time that you're checking. So at the bottom, you have also the time scroll, which is another very, very useful option. So I can scroll into the future and just kind of get an idea of what it's going to be maybe around 12 o'clock tonight. And then I can move into tomorrow and check around 6 in the morning, between 6 and 12 p.m. to see what the West Fjords might be looking if I'm traveling up there. So it looks like it's going to be sunny, very good weather. So I'll probably have a great time. Now, this is great, but let's check what's going on with wind conditions, because although it could be sunny and beautiful, it could be really, really windy, and it could really disrupt your trip. So let's go back to the home page, and let's click on the overview graphic here where it's green and blue. I can just click on that graphic, and now it's going to take me into the wind conditions of the island. Now, you might be looking at this and saying, all right, what is this green and blue? Okay, so, and there's some arrows that are going left and right, top, bottom. I don't know what's going on here. So, again, there's a vertical menu to the left, and that shows you the regions you can jump into and check out a little bit more details. But in the overview of the entire island, we can kind of see this green to bluish shade or color switch. Now, when it's mostly green, that's actually really good. If it starts developing bluish colors or even purple, that's when it gets dramatic. It gets really, really ugly. Even there's sometimes you could see yellow, like there's yellow, maybe red. That's very, very severe. So there's a legend right under the graphic that shows a light green to a purple, dark purple. And those are the measurements between the lows and the highs. So 0 to 20. And that's in meters per second, or the velocity of the wind blowing, or gusts. So anything between 0 to 6, or light green to this almost dark green, is fairly okay. 0 to 2 is beautiful. That's great wind conditions. But when you start getting into the aqua blues, so when it switches from green to blue, and you go from 8 to 14, that's when it starts getting interesting. And then anything beyond that is starting to get severe. So let's go to and like I said, we can scroll through the bottom. We have that scroller again, where we can move the wind conditions by going into the future and seeing how the wind flows. And you could start seeing something very, very interesting in the east. And this is the alert, the yellow alert that has been happening, or you get alerted at the homepage, which is still at the top there. It will go throughout the entire page, and you can see the transition of the progression of the wind conditions in the east, or the east fjords. As you can see, that starts to get to purple, and then it runs into this. It opens up the legend, and it gives you more of the severe wind speeds, which is it opens up the reds and the yellows. So anything around this time right now, you can see it's mostly from green, blues, and purples. But as we move into the future, the red and the yellow shades start opening up, because it starts to get very, very severe. So if you wanted to go towards the east of the island, today would not be a good idea. But we were going to the west fjords, and we want to go and check the west fjords. Also, another thing I forgot to mention, you're going to see black arrows, thin black arrows that are directional. So that's just where the wind is blowing. So if you move around and scrub around the time, you can see how the arrows kind of just flicker. They start rotating, and it's just where the wind is blowing. So if the arrows are pointing down and to the right, it's going southeast. And if anything's moving, if the arrows are pointing to the top left, it's going north west. So that's pretty much it. So let's go to the West Fjord. So in the vertical menu bar to the left, we're going to click West Fjords, and it's going to load the more detailed view of the West Fjords. And right now it's looking very good. If I move into the future, so if I move into 12 tonight and then into tomorrow, which I was thinking of heading over there, I can see by noon it's still looking great. And again, if I keep moving into the afternoon and at night, things are still roughly really good. And actually it gets much better on the 29th of June. So that's on the third day. It starts getting really, really nice. So I might spend, I don't know, three days there. So this is very important to check, because you might, if you're going there blind without knowing anything, you might show up and it's a surprise and it might ruin your trip. But by going into VEDUR.IS, you can check all this information, and it's great. I highly, highly recommend it. One last thing I'm going to show you is the weather temperature, and that's the graphic here on the middle. I'll quickly go through that, and you can see the temperature, and it's in Celsius. You can scrub through that and check out weather temperature conditions. And the last one was precipitation. So precipitation, same thing. You can scroll through that, and you can see the green is precipitation. Anything brownish or island color is clear, so there's nothing going on. But most of the precipitation looks like is happening in the east. So there you go. Now let's move into ROAD.is. That's ROAD.is. And this site is very important. So we got through the weather. Now let's check the road conditions. So let's say it's a beautiful time in the West Fjords, but can I even get there? Is it okay to drive there? So that's going to kind of give you an overview of yes or no. Right now, as of end of June, we're going into July. The island is mostly open. You can see the green roads that are open. That just means they're open. And there are some roads specifically in the middle, the highlands, that are closed. So that's all red, and they're not open yet. They will be open probably later in July, as you know, the terrain starts clearing up. There could be snow that's covering the road, or the roads might be in bad conditions due to rains, so there might be mud. It also can mean that since it's, you know, in June, July, it's higher temperatures, the glaciers are melting, the snow is melting, it's coming down the mountain, and it's creating more water, which means that the rivers are higher, and then maybe you just can't get through. You know, there are river crossings. If you have a specific vehicle, like a 4x4 or mountain truck, those are able to cross rivers, and perhaps the river's too high, so you might not be able to get through. So most of the roads, and I would say around the coast or near the edge of the coast, will mostly be green, and then anything in the middle will slowly open up throughout the July, August, and September. So this is very, very important to check. Now, like I said, I wanted to go to the West Fjord, so I'm going to go up to the northwest and just check out some of the road conditions in the West Fjords. So as I'm going there, let's see, Route 60, which runs along the south part of the West Fjords and runs into the west. 60 looks green, everything is easily passable, so conditions here are good. 62 is also good, and I don't know, let's see, I maybe want to start driving up to the north part of the West Fjords along 60, and everything looks pretty fair and green, everything's easily passable, nothing crazy is happening. I do see some icons here of this triangular icon, which just indicates, if I click on it, it gives me a notification here where it says uneven road. So it'll give you just west of the old house at Arnarari, the road surface is very uneven. On a short part of the road, reduce speed is recommended. So you'll get an alert regarding that. So if I'm riding along Route 61 up here in the north, I might come across this alert, and it's just telling me to, drive slow. The road is a little bit uneven, so nothing crazy. I also get a live camera feed of the area, which I can check to see the road conditions, and that's pretty much it. It's very, very good. It's very, very useful, especially if you're heading somewhere, you just don't know what you're getting yourself into. You can check the road conditions. You can get a live webcam feed, and you can get real-time notifications of what's happening. If there's any roads that are uneven, roads that are being, if there's any construction going on. So all that will be on ROAD.is. So as far as the trip to the West Fjords for the next 2 to 3 days, looks like it's going to be a good time. Weather looks good, winds look really good, and the road conditions are great. So because I checked 2 sites, weather and road conditions, I can now plan my trip to the West Fjords and know that I'm going to have a great time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to leave both websites in the description so you can easily click and go. So I suggest you check these out if you're coming to Iceland. Take care. Bye.